the anxious generation.
What governments and tech companies can do now? 1. Studies show that excessive screen time can lead to increased anxiety and depression in adolescents.
That's alarming. I read that social media platforms are designed to keep users engaged, almost like a game.
You're right. Sean Parker, one of the founders of Facebook, mentioned that they exploit vulnerabilities in human psychology to keep users hooked.
It sounds like they prioritize profit over the well-being of our children.
Absolutely. The users are often the product, and their attention is sold to advertisers.
That makes me wonder what can be done to protect our kids from these influences.
Governments can implement regulations to change how these platforms operate, similar to food safety laws in the past.
I see. So by changing the incentives, we could potentially create a healthier environment for our children.
Exactly. Policies can also encourage more play and autonomy in the real world, which is essential for child development. The race to the bottom of the brainstem.
I've read that many teenagers today are experiencing higher levels of anxiety than ever before.
That's true. Tristan Harris pointed out that tech companies are competing fiercely for our attention, which can lead to this anxiety.
I remember hearing about the race to the bottom of the brainstem. What does that mean?
It refers to how companies exploit psychological vulnerabilities to keep users engaged. They design products that create addictive behaviors.
I see. So, it's not just about entertainment anymore, it's about capturing attention at all costs?
Exactly. Harris highlighted that this leads to a mental health crisis, especially among teenagers who are constantly seeking validation online.
That makes sense. The constant feedback from likes and followers can create a cycle of anxiety.
Right. The advertising-driven model turns users into products, which can be damaging, especially for young minds.
And it seems like companies aren't enforcing age restrictions effectively, allowing younger kids to access these platforms.
Yes, many kids are on social media before they're even allowed, which can exacerbate these mental health issues.
It's alarming to think about how this affects their development and social interactions.
Research shows that over 35% of users on platforms like Instagram are under 18 years old, which makes them a prime target for marketers.
And I read that these companies often use AI to curate content that keeps users engaged longer, sometimes leading to exposure to inappropriate material.
Exactly. The algorithms are so sophisticated that they can detect what captivates users, which can be harmful for adolescents.
It's like the platforms are designed to keep them scrolling endlessly, similar to how video games use addictive features.
Yes. Features like infinite scroll and autoplay reduce friction and encourage mindless consumption, which is concerning.
And let's not forget about social validation. The pressure to maintain Snapchat streaks can take away from real-life interactions.
Absolutely. This constant need for social interaction online can lead to increased anxiety among young users.
It's frustrating that while companies benefit from these practices, minors are left vulnerable to the consequences.
Indeed, and without proper regulations, it seems unlikely that these companies will change their ways voluntarily.
I wish there was more awareness about this issue among parents and educators.
What governments and tech companies can do to the bottom of the brainstem? Have you heard about the age-appropriate design code that was enacted in the UK in 2020?
No, I haven't. What is it about?
It's a set of design standards that tech companies must follow to protect minors online. It asserts that companies have a duty of care towards children.
That sounds important. How does it actually work?
For instance, it requires that privacy settings for minors be set to the highest level by default, ensuring their posts are private unless they choose otherwise.
Wow, that's a significant change. Does it apply only to the UK?
Initially, yes, but many tech companies adopted these changes globally to avoid complications. California also passed its version of the code in 2022.
That's great to hear. But what about other states in the US?
Individual states have started enacting their own laws, but there's a push for federal legislation like the Kids Online Safety Act to create a unified approach.
I see. But some people are worried about government overreach and censorship, right?
Yes, that concern exists. However, the focus of recent laws is on design choices, not on what users can say online.
That makes sense. So, design changes can help create a safer online environment for kids?
Exactly. For example, when TikTok restricted direct messaging for teens, it was a direct response to the UK Code's requirements. Have you ever thought about how the age of internet adulthood was set at 13?
I have. It seems so young, especially considering how much access kids have to the internet now.
Exactly. The original proposal was to set the age at 16, but it was lowered due to political compromises.
That makes sense, but it really doesn't reflect the maturity of kids today, does it?
Not at all. The Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPPA, was enacted in 1998, and it hasn't been updated since.
I read that it doesn't even require companies to verify ages properly, just to avoid collecting data if they know someone is under 13.
That's right. It's concerning because it sends a message to parents that 13 is an acceptable age for kids to manage their online presence.
And yet, we expect parents to monitor everything, which is unrealistic given how savvy kids can be with technology.
Absolutely. Just like we expect liquor stores to check IDs, tech companies should also be held accountable for age restrictions.
It's a complex issue. I can see why raising the age back to 16 is being considered now.
Indeed, it's crucial for protecting young users from the addictive techniques used by many online platforms.
It really makes you think about what
Have
responsibilities
you noticed
tech
the recent
companies have
discussions
towards our
about age
children.
verification online?
Yes, it seems like a big topic, especially with the new laws popping up.
Absolutely. For instance, Louisiana now requires sites with adult content to verify users are over 18 using a digital wallet app.
That sounds complicated. I wonder how many people would actually feel comfortable sharing their ID like that.
Right? Many users might hesitate to provide personal information, especially on adult sites.
And blocking access seems like a drastic measure, like what happened with Pornhub in Louisiana.
Exactly. But there are alternative methods for age verification that keep privacy in mind. For example, some companies are using a third-party verification service.
Oh, so that way, they only confirm if someone is old enough without revealing personal details?
Yes. And using blockchain technology or biometrics can also establish identity without compromising privacy.
That's fascinating. I didn't know there were so many options out there.
There are. And the quality of these methods is expected to improve over time, which is good news for everyone.
It seems like there needs to be a balance between safety and privacy, especially for kids.
Research shows that kids as young as 10 are facing immense peer pressure due to platforms like Instagram.
That's alarming. What can be done to help protect them from these pressures?
It would automatically verify a user's age when they try to access certain sites. If the age check is on, it simply confirms if they meet the minimum age requirement.
So, it would help parents keep younger kids off inappropriate sites without constant monitoring?
Exactly. And it could also reduce the peer pressure on kids like Alexa Spence, who struggled with social media at a young age.
That's a powerful example.
What about schools? Can they do something too?
Definitely. Schools could go phone-free to improve both mental health and academic performance.
That makes sense. How could schools implement that?
Governments could fund phone lockers or pouches to keep phones out of students' hands during school hours.
It seems like a simple yet effective solution to a growing problem.
Absolutely, and research could verify the benefits for student mental health and academic outcomes.